Happy to be joined again on Nesson by Massachusetts State Senator Eric Lesser. We spoke a couple months ago, Senator, and you were happy about the progress, and you're such a crucial part of sports betting in this state. What's the latest on Beacon Hill right now?
So I do know that, certainly people are very eager to get their bets in and get this done. We're inching closer. Since the last time we talked, the House has actually finished a sports betting package, so they're done.
Where have you seen the biggest growth in the lawmaking process?
So it's a great question. I mean, I think there's really a growing consensus, I think, around the consumer protections. Obviously sports betting is fun. Most people do it as a fun way to kind of hang out and pass the time. But we do know we are talking about a gambling product, and something that's really important to members of our caucus in the Senate is making sure people are protected if they might have an addiction or they might be prone to some sort of financial, manipulation. We got to make sure they're protected. The other really big place that we're making a lot of progress on is player protections. We want to protect athletes. We want to make sure that they're taken care of. We want to make sure that any system that we do set up is safe and is fair to them. So I would say it's really the consumer protection for the consumers, player protections, and then the final big piece is really integrity of the game. Unfortunately, we know the history of sports betting sometimes and the effect it's had on sports, the reason it was banned in the first place. So we just want to make sure that any bill that does come out, any final proposal, is doing everything we can to make sure that there's good data sharing, that the Gaming Commission can intervene if there's an issue, and that the overall integrity of the sports is protected.
So I read social media, unfortunately, from time to time, and I hear people that don't know what's going on talk about what's going on. And I read a tweet the other day that if it isn't done by November 17th, we will never have sports betting. Obviously, that's not true, but can you shed a little light on the realistic part of this process and what the dates are?
Well, the first rule is in politics and really in life is don't believe everything. You actually don't believe most of the things you read on Twitter. But what I would say is no, there's no hard and fast date. No, nothing is turning into a pumpkin. Look, this is the legislative process and there's debate and there's discussion and you've got to work to build consensus. There's no hard, fast date on the calendar where everything, evaporates, Cinderella style. We're working towards some consensus. We're working towards some items and we're making good progress. And again, last time we talked, Sam, we didn't have a House bill yet. We hadn't reported a bill to the Ways and Means Committee. So these steps are moving along. I do think that sooner rather than later, we're going to see something emerge.
Sooner rather than later. I'll read between the lines there and I'll take from that what it's worth. What is it going to take to reach the finish line? What will it take?
Well, again, when you're dealing with gambling, if you just look at the history of our state, it's always been a kind of long, contentious process. The lottery, which people now kind of almost take for granted, was the multi-year process decades ago when it first got set up. Resort style gaming, which came to Massachusetts with a law passed in 2011, was also a very long process, decades actually, before it actually happened. So in the scheme of those previous debates, this is actually going pretty fast. But I do think that the real key things to keep an eye on is what are we doing to protect consumers? What are we going to be doing to protect players? What are we going to be doing to make sure the overall integrity of the game is really kept intact? And that's going to really be the key. And that's what's going to be at the front of mind for me.
Do you have a target date in mind?
No date circled on the calendar. I mean, I would like to see it, sooner rather than later. But I think the bottom line is it's not up to me, right? It's up to, the collective kind of decision that gets made by the entire legislature. And there's 200 members of the legislature. So it's a process. But I do think that really important to me is any bill that we put forward has really got to have those really strong consumer protections in it.